Is Killer Queen a Requiem stand? Short answer, no. Long answer, I know you're gonna angrily comment first before I explain, so I ask you to wait until you've heard my explanation before I have to argue with you in the comments like I've done with other statements countless times. It's getting annoying. Please watch the video before you try to correct me, because you're probably wrong. If we want to be able to either label Killer Queen as a Requiem stand or attempt to prove the opposite, we first need to look at the criteria needed for a stand to be, without any argument or shadow of a doubt, to be classed as a Requiem stand, and then cross-reference said criteria with Killer Queen. However, as Requiem stands only ever occurred without a doubt, with no debate about whether or not the stands are Requiem, that's only happened twice, both in part 5, of course with Giorno and Polnareff. So we need to take a look at a few things. What similarities are there between how these stands acquired Requiem, what did Polnareff say about Requiem, as well as what doesn't match when compared to Kira and Killer Queen. And one more thing before I break it down, so I hopefully stop getting these dumb comments. People think that once Kira gets hit with the stand arrow in the shower, that his stand's name goes from Killer Queen to Killer Queen Bites the Dust. No, I feel that this is a common misconception. Killer Queen retains its name. It's called Killer Queen after getting hit by the arrow. This is Bites the Dust. The miniature Killer Queen that people see when they get blown up and time rewinds, that's Bite the Dust. Not this. I feel the reason people get confused is because Kira keeps saying Killer Queen Bites the Dust in succession, and it kind of made a few people think that the stand's name changed, but it didn't. Anyway, you still may be on the fence about whether or not you think Killer Queen may be a Requiem stand. Okay, so let's go over what factors need to be taken into account to classify a stand as Requiem. Factor number 1. Did the stand arrow pierce the stand? So factor number 1, that is 100% necessary, as a matter of fact, to create a Requiem stand. It was stated by Polnareff and was shown in both cases of Requiem. The stand is pierced by a stand arrow. I mean, this is kind of set in stone. Despite the fact it only happens twice within part 5, we still see it 3 times. Once with a flashback of Polnareff and Silver Chariot in the countryside, once again with Silver Chariot at the Colosseum, and finally again with Gold Experience with the battle against Diavolo. So the stand needs to be pierced for Requiem to occur. The stand. Number 2. The beetle arrow. Was the stand stabbed by the beetle arrow or a regular stand arrow? This factor is completely determined by whether or not you believe the beetle arrow is the only arrow that has the ability to give Requiem stands. There's some evidence against and for this factor, whether or not the beetle arrow is necessary for Requiem. However, as the only 2 cases of Requiem seen do make use of the beetle arrow and is a commonality between the 2, it is a factor to consider nonetheless. Number 3. Did the stand's name change? More specifically and quite obviously, does it have Requiem in its name? In both cases of definite Requiem, the word was added to their existent name, Gold Experience Requiem and Silver Chariot Requiem. It's kind of a no-brainer for a stand to be a Requiem, to be honest, yet it seems a lot of people just tend to ignore it. Factor number 4. Physical transformation. With both stands that acquired Requiem, both stands went through a significant transformation to their appearance. Silver Chariot kind of liquidated and crawled away and became more of a weird shadowy figure that was made of a liquid instead of a knight covered in armour. Not only did its appearance change, but as well as its consistency. With Gold Experience, when it was struck by the stand arrow, it was as if the original Gold Experience acted as a shell or cocoon for GER, as pieces of Gold Experience fell off and revealed GER underneath, transforming in a much different way to Silver Chariot, but still going through a very significant physical transformation. Factor number 5. Did the stand attain a new ability? With all cases of Requiem that we know of, the stands that were struck don't only get cosmetic changes, but also changes to their abilities or a new ability. Silver Chariot got a bunch of new abilities, but also the overall theme of said abilities revolved around manipulating the souls of living things, humans or not, as well as a failsafe against stand users who try to attack it, completely changing from the sword stabbing knight armor that we once knew. That more so changed its abilities than adding new ones, unlike GER, which simply got the ability of nullification as well as some stat boosts on top of upgrading Gold Experience's base ability of life-giving and life-sensing. Factor number 6. Did the stand arrow choose the user? It's kind of shown that the stand arrows kind of have a mind of their own. For example, we see Giorno get stabbed with a stand arrow against Black Sabbath, yet Gold Experience didn't randomly transform, did it? We see that the arrow kind of forces its way up Kira's arm to create Bite the Dust. The arrows just have a mind of their own, whether or not it will allow for a stand or something new like Requiem or an evolved stand to form. No matter what it creates, the arrow kind of has to choose you. Just as Polnareff says, The arrow chooses people and is drawn like a magnet to its chosen. Now that I feel that I have determined what the core factors necessary to categorize a stand as Requiem are, let's conclude my thoughts on the topic and put Killer Queen against this list to compare whether or not it's a Requiem stand. Well, you can probably already tell what I'm going to say. Factor number 1. Did Killer Queen get stabbed by the arrow? No. It was very clear that Kira himself got stabbed by the arrow, not his stand. Granted, Killer Queen pops up for a second, but it's very clearly not Killer Queen which got pierced by the arrow. Yes, something got pierced, but it wasn't the stand. Factor number 2. Did Kira get pierced by the beetle arrow? No. Granted, as I said earlier, the validity of this point is dependent on whether or not you believe that the beetle stand arrow is the only one with the ability to grant Requiem. Without confirmation from the big man himself, we'll never really know, and that's kind of up for interpretation a little bit. However, Kira got stabbed by a normal stand arrow, if you can call it that, a non-beetle stand arrow. Fact number 3. Did Killer Queen's name change? No! As I stated earlier, the stand itself didn't undergo a name change. When Killer Queen gained an ability, the stand's new ability, its third bomb, got a name. But Killer Queen itself's name didn't change, meaning that there wasn't an actual name change. It's just that Kira likes to say the name of Bites the Dust in tangent with its stand name when he uses it, so I feel that's what may have caused some confusion. So no, Killer Queen's name didn't change. It's not called Killer Queen Bites the Dust, it's simply known as Killer Queen. Factor number 4. Did Killer Queen's appearance change? No! Not really, unless it was something so minor that no one has really spotted it. No, from what I can tell, Killer Queen's appearance did not change after getting struck by the stand arrow. Factor number 5. Did the stand gain a new ability? Yes, 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 yes! Why, yes it did. I feel like this is the factor that most people like to bring up the most when arguing whether or not Killer Queen is Requiem. See, he got hit by an arrow and he got stronger. That means he's a Requiem, right? No. Kira gaining an ability after getting hit by a stand arrow is just kind of a unique case, and a lot of people don't really like to categorize it as such or as simply as that. It's just an evolved stand. But yes, once struck with the arrow, Kira gained a new ability. Factor number 6. Was Kira chosen by the arrow? Yes! Yes! I mean, yeah. Duh. That's like Kira's whole shtick. He's super lucky and constantly being protected by fate. And the arrow itself literally just forced its way up his arm. He was chosen. He had the potential of a stand evolution. So, overall, in conclusion, there's only a little bit, but not too much crossover between Killer Queen and Requiem stands. There are way too many differences between what Kira and Killer Queen went through and the process of gaining a Requiem stand. Killer Queen is not Requiem. However, Killer Queen is a unique case of a powerful stand evolution caused by a stand arrow that isn't Requiem due to it being far too different from what we know to be Requiem, but still being a stand evolution. It's as simple as that. A lot of people tend to hypothesize that Bites the Dust was kind of a progenitor to Requiem stands, as it was from part 4 before Requiem stands were even a thing, as those were introduced in part 5, so people see it as Araki attempting to make some sort of schematic or prototype for what Requiem would be in the future, but that doesn't mean it's Requiem. It means it's simply the first attempt at a concept of a stand evolution through the use of a stand arrow, but not yet refined and polished enough to be classed as Requiem. I mean, if the concept of Bites the Dust and Kira and all this rubbish was more fleshed out, I wouldn't have made this video. So, with that being said, I have one last thing to say. Take a shot every time I said Requiem. Holy shit, you'd be dead, you'd be so dead. Final thoughts. There may be some other factors to determine whether a stand is Requiem, such as whether or not the stand becomes sentient and self-aware like GER or going berserk like Silver Chariot, but other stands have been self-aware like Babyface and Cheap's Trick, so I was wondering whether or not to include that as a factor. And there's plenty of other factors, but these were the ones that I felt in the moment made the most sense to categorise and classify a Requiem stand. Anyway, with that being said, I made this video so people would stop saying all evolved stands are Requiem. It's a fingers and thumbs situation. All these are evolved stands, but not all are Requiem. People don't realise that Requiem is just a very specific evolution, through a very specific means. It's just that Requiem is obtained through a really obtuse way, and as a result people really just kind of misinterpret what it means. If you think I'm wrong, let me know, and if you think I'm right, let me know. Let me know some more hotly debated topics, not just JoJo ones, anything weeby. I'll make fun of it and tell you you're wrong, even though I'm probably wrong. We'll figure it out. Follow all my socials, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. You know what I'm going to say by now. If you want to keep watching videos about weeb topics, I got you. And with that being said, thanks for watching this video, and thank you for the recent burst in support in the last couple of weeks. Like, last time I checked, I think about 2 weeks ago, the channel was on about 6,900 subscribers, but as of right now, we're on about 8,350 last time I checked. So yeah, I can't thank you all enough for watching my shorts, my streams, my videos. Thank you so much. And with that being said, toodles my doodles, if I see you in the next one. Peace.
Now, I'm motivated.
Josh, welcome to the party. Thank you for subscribing.